Titan Army recently asked me to have a look at their VA Ultrawide gaming monitor. Even though I haven't heard of their brand, I do see their monitors being sold at Best Buy, so I agreed. I have never owned an ultrawide monitor nor used a VA panel, so this would be a new technology to me. This is the C34A1R model and it has a 1440p 165Hz panel. Let's go over its accessories. First is the stand. Personally, I always use a monitor arm to have more spaces for my mousepad. As this is an ultrawide, the base needs to expand quite a bit. If you use the stand, mounting it to the monitor does not require any tool, but if you want to use the arm, the monitor supports 100x100 VESA mount. There is only a DisplayPort cable included, so if you need to use the monitor with HDMI, you have to provide yourself. As this is an ultra-wide and to keep the weight of the monitor down, we have an external power brick. However, its EMI filter can go through the cable management hole of the stand. The power cable needs to be routed around. The stand can be turned left and right and adjusted vertically depending on your preference, but it can be rotated 90 degrees. For I/O, we have 2 HDMIs and 2 DisplayPorts, as well as 1 audio jack. The monitor is equipped with PIP, PPP function, and with multiple display input sources, you can split the screen and use it as 2 monitors with your PC. The default settings of the monitor were not great, so here are my personal settings. In Game Plus, we need to turn on Adaptive Sync as this enables G-Sync or FreeSync. In Picture Enhancement, Super Resolution was set to level 1 as this makes images a bit clearer. The higher the level, the crispier the image, but it will make things look over sharp, especially on text. Dynamic Overdrive was set to top speed. In Picture Settings, the brightness was set to 100, contrast to 73, and gamma was set to curve, which gave me the natural color in my opinion. For picture mode, I kept it as standard. It is hard to capture on the camera, but the color is very vibrant and I can tell that it is better than my old TN gaming monitor. People say VA has better contrast than IPS, but I prefer the color of IPS panel. One thing I noticed that if I sit close to the monitor and glance to the sides, the color is a bit washed out, even though being curved helps reduce the issue. The major problem is ghosting, and I could notice that when I minimize windows, so I tried capturing slow motion footage of the test UFO. You can clearly see that the ghosting is very noticeable, and I was having the monitor run at 165Hz. Even without slow motion, the ghosting issue can be captured when the camera is set to 60 fps. We can pause the footage and see how the image looks. VA panel is notorious for ghosting and I've never used one before, so I am not sure how comparable this monitor against other VA panels, but this is not something I can consider using for online FPS games. Here is the slow motion footage on my 360Hz OLED panel. Of course, it is a more expensive monitor, but I just want to show a screen without any ghosting. Once you have experience playing games on the screen with clear images, it is quite hard to switch to a VA panel, especially with fast motion games like FPS. Here is the test on my 240Hz IPS monitor, but it was currently running at 165Hz as I was using it with my work laptop. There was some ghostings, but it was very minimal and the images were still very clear. High refresh rate 16:9 1440p IPS monitor prices have been dropping down a lot lately, and the price is either equal or less than an ultra-wide VA gaming monitor. So if you play online FPS and do not need ultra-wide, I would suggest getting a normal IPS panel. However, ultra-wide IPS gaming monitors are still pricier than VA, so if you have a tight budget but want to try ultra-wide, going for a VA panel can be considerable. This panel is good for offline games as well as productivity. I am someone not used to using multiple monitors, so having an ultra-wide like this improves my workflow. One thing to keep in mind is that even though this is 1440p, ultra-wide makes our system render extra pixels, so the performance can drop. In as-screen shadows, my RTX 4070 gave me 100 to 110 FPS at 16:9 1440p with frame generation on, while at 21:9 1440p, I got 80 to 90 FPS. Of course, the advantage is extra field of view, which makes gaming more immersive. If you are interested in the Titan Army C34A1R monitor, please check the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.